Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy IAS Academy. So, in this session, we are going to discuss about the recent scenario with respect to Hamas and Israel that is related to the peace deal and the second phase of peace deal which recently happened in Cairo, Egypt. So, first of all, let me tell you that in a rapidly unfolding crisis that could reshape the Middle East and also hopes for lasting peace between Israel and Hamas hang by a thread. So, the fragile ceasefire once a glimmer of hope for war weary civilians in Gaza now teeters on the edge of collapse. So, with tense negotiations stalled, aid cut off, and both sides digging their heels. So, the world is watching anxiously. Will this be the final blow of the ceasefire deal, or is there a still chance to pull back from the brink of war? So, what is the current situation with respect to Israel Hamas? So let me tell you what is the context of this news, what is the current situation. So the current situation, as you can see here, so let me tell you that Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire deal with three phases. Okay. Now the first phase paused fighting and exchanged 33 hostages, including 8 bodies for about 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, and allowed more aid into Gaza region. Now, phase 2 was supposed to free the remaining hostages and pull Israeli troops out of Gaza and work towards the ending the war. So what are the recent developments that we need to understand here? So what are the recent developments? So the talks of the phase 2 recently happened in Cairo, Egypt, but Hamas says that there was no progress. Ji haan. Hamas is saying that there is no progress, and Israeli negotiators went home, and it is unclear if talks will continue or not. So because of this, as you can see here now, so because of this, the most important personality, Basim Naim, who is a member of Hamas political bureau, and he told that the Association Press that there has been no progress before Israeli negotiators returned home on this Friday itself, and it was unclear whether those mediators would return to Cairo to resume the talks or not. Clear? So Naim said he had no idea when negotiations might resume. कि अब ये negotiations कब resume होंगे इसके बारे में किसी को भी नहीं पता. Clear? So ये सबसे बड़ा context है that ceasefire agreement phase 2 talks underway. Clear? So when the ceasefire is going to be started, nobody knows. Now, how many hostages and casualties are there with respect to this? So let me tell you hostages and casualties. So with respect to this, so first of all, Hamas started the war on October 7, 2023, killing 1,200 Israelites and taking 251 hostages. Now, 59 hostages remain in Gaza, but 32 are believed to be dead. कहा जा रहा है 32 की मौत हो चुकी है. Now, with respect to this, Israelis, or you can say Israel's military response has killed over 48,000 Palestinians, according to the Gaza's health ministry, with more than half reported to be women and children. So this is the demand. Now, why there are disagreements? So first of all, we need to understand why there are disagreements. Hamas, Hamas want a permanent ceasefire deal. That means an Israeli withdrawal and the release of more Palestinian prisoners in phase 2 of the ceasefire deal. Now, Israel, which is backed by United States of America, clear? So right now, Israel, which is backed by United States of America, offered to extend the first phase through Ramadan. Israel ने कहा कि हम फर्स्ट फेज शुरू करेंगे रमजान के टाइम पीरियड में. which is started on this Saturday itself, and Passover. So Israel, backed by the US, offered to extend the first phase through Ramadan, started on Saturday, this Saturday, and Passover ends April 20. If Hamas releases hostages in two waves, half right away and then rest after the deal. अब इजराइल कह रहा है कि हाफ तुरंत अभी दे दो hostages को, और आफ्टर द डील हाफ जितने हैं उनको आप डील के बाद भेज दीजिएगा. नाउ अब हमस ने क्या किया? हमस रिजेक्टेड दिस प्लान. क्लियर? सो हमस रिजेक्टेड दिस प्लान, calling this plan, or you can say calling it as the violation of the original deal, कि इजराइल जो है, जो ओरिजिनल डील थी उससे अब चेंज कर रहा है. Now what is the response of Israel now? So today in Indian Express newspaper, the most important thing that is there with respect to aid cutoff. जी हाँ. So on this Sunday, Israel stopped all aid to Gaza, and Israel is saying that it was to pressure Hamas into accepting the new deal. We are just pressurizing the Hamas so that Hamas should accept the new deal. And this is the time of Ramadan, and Israel has stopped all aid to Gaza to pressurize the Hamas into accepting the new deal. So Hamas called this as cheap extortion and a war crime, accusing Israel of breaking the truce agreement. कि इजराइल जो है truce agreement को break कर रहा है, और इसीलिए the people in Gaza, they are protesting against Israel. Clear? Now apart from this, humanitarian crisis. जी हाँ, humanitarian crisis if we talk about. So Israel has stopped all its aid to Gaza. Now this is a kind of humanitarian crisis. Now to aid surged during the first phase, with the UN's World Food Program saying it helped 1 million Palestinians. It is said that UN's World Food Program, it helped 1 million Palestinians. Still Gaza facing food shortages, and Israel has been accused of blocking the aid during the war. कि इजराइल ने aid को block किया war के time period में. Now International Criminal Court previously accused Israel of using starvation as a method of warfare. कि aid ना भेज के इजराइल एक तरीके से प्रेशराइज दे रहा है, and because of starvation, so Israel is using it as a weapon. So but Israel, the perspective of Israel is denying all these things. Israel denies this and blaming the UN for poor distribution, and accusing the Hamas for taking some of the aid. Now apart from this, there are political tensions also. Now there are political tensions. Now what are the political tensions? Now Israel said that Hamas cannot govern Gaza after the war. Now Hamas cannot govern Gaza after the war. Now Hamas says that it is willing to hand power to Palestinian National Consensus Government or an Egypt proposed technocratic body. Hamas कह रहा है कि हम हैंड ओवर कर देंगे किसको? Either Palestinian National Consensus Government or Egypt proposed technocratic body. Now, but Hamas is also saying that they refuses to go into exile. Hamas refuses to go into exile and rejecting the Israel's demand. Now the thing here is, the stalled ceasefire talks and Israel's aid cutoff are likely to have serious ripple effects across the Middle East. This thing is going to have the serious ripple effect across the Middle East. Believe me. How it is going to impact? The first important thing is rising regional tensions. How it is going to rise the regional tensions? So countries like Egypt, Qatar, Jordan, these countries have already been involved in the mediation. If the ceasefire collapses, then these nations may face internal pressure to take a stronger stand against Israel. Iran and its allies like Hezbollah in Lebanon and militias in Iraq and Syria could escalate their anti-Israel rhetoric, or even they can take military action, further it is going to destabilize the region called as Middle East. Now, apart from this, protest and unrest. Protest and unrest. Now, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza has fueled the protests in the countries like Lebanon, Jordan, and Iraq. That too during the time period of Ramzan. And a breakdown in the ceasefire could trigger larger, angrier demonstration, increasing the pressure on the Arab government to act against Israel. That is also one of the most important issue, most important implication. And apart from this, diplomatic fallout. Diplomatic fallout. Now, how diplomatic fallout? So let me tell you that the Abraham Accord, which normalized ties between Israel and some Arab states, it may be strained. And also Saudi Arabia, which has already delayed formalizing relations with Israel due to the war with Hamas, and continued violence could push Saudis even further away from any potential deal. So this is also one of the most important implications that may come into the picture. Now, apart from this implication, Palestinian unity or division. Palestinian unity or division. Now, Hamas stands refusing to give up power unless there is a permanent ceasefire, and it could either strengthen its support among Palestinians or widen the divide with Fatah and the Palestinian Authority. Now, Israel's rejection of both Hamas and Palestinian Authority, it raises questions about the Gaza's future governance, and this also adds to the political uncertainty in the region called as Gaza. Apart from this, US influence and its credibility. Now, US is backing Israel's new ceasefire proposal, but if it fails, it may undermine American credibility in the region. Apart from this, Arab states may see Washington as either unwilling or unable to pressure Israel into a longer-term solution, and which is going to fuel anti-US sentiment. And then humanitarian fallout. The aid cutoff decision which is taken by Israel, so the aid cutoff will worsen Gaza's already dire situation. And if famine or further humanitarian disaster unfold, it could push more regional and global actors to pressure Israel, possibly through international courts or sanctions. So overall, if you see, if the ceasefire in countries, or if you can say, if ceasefire crumbles, the Middle East could face more violence, deeper divisions between Israel and its neighbor, and it can rise unrest within the countries already on the edge. So overall, if you see this article in this newspaper Indian Express, so the crux of this article is it is related to the uncertainty in second ceasefire deal. So as the clock ticks and the ceasefire's fate hangs in the unsettling questions. Now the question here is, will Gaza plunge back into the relentless violence, or will diplomacy prevail at the last movement? Now, with both sides at a standstill and humanitarian aid now cut off, the stakes have never been the higher. So the road ahead is fraught with uncertainty. But for the millions caught in this crossfire, the hope for peace remains a fragile yet unwavering beacon. So the next move could change the course of history, and the world is witnessing and watching. So for such kind of videos, like, share and subscribe our channel Legacy IAS Academy. Thank you so much.